what is the difference between compliance and guidance or governance? Anyone in their own words so that I can understand what you have understood so far? Anyone? You can say in your own words.
Like compliance, like we can tell, it's like others to laws and regulation and standards, and whereas governance is like we can say there's a system of rules,
Okay.
which an organization will be like directed and like will be controlled. Like
Okay. See, always keep in mind that whenever it comes to compliance means a set of rules that you have to follow. Okay. Governance means what you told was correct, like organizing, taking care of the security postures, making that control, prevention, detections, everything is brought in proper shape. So that's a main focus of data governance. So we have a complete program information how we require and what are the important things we use in the organization structure. So whenever we talk about security governance, it is always a process where you can say methodologies, we can say directing or controlling the organization to achieve the goals of business. So yesterday in the one slide we discussed about goal, missions and objectives. So a compliance is a set of rules that organization must follow to ensure that business process are secure. So we need to make sure that business goals should balance the confidentiality, integrity, availability, and business strategy implications. These are the very important aspects that we use mainly into the governance and compliances. So compliances means a set of rules that has to be implemented in the organizations. So under this, you will be also having non-compliances. This is a very challenging in the organization. Suppose they have implemented ISO 27001 and some of the policies have been not met, like password management, they have not implemented. They have implemented whenever they want to change the password as per the requirement. So control is not in place. So that type of issues will go into non-compliances issues. So some of the best examples in terms of governance, we can say organization committee, organization goals, implementation of security policies, procedures, protection of organization and information assets of the function that we use it. So today we're going to discuss about PCI DSS. There will be a compulsory question on PCI DSS. So what is very important for in this point of view? So whenever in compliances, there will be at least 5 or 6 questions for sure. So we need to know how this compliances we use in different aspects. So payment card industry data security standard, it's a kind of merchant service provider, is used for millions of transactions per second. So for example, all over the global world, if you talk about the global world, you have n number of business applications, n number of commercial shops. So the merchant, it can be Visa, Master, Discovery Card, American Express. So as service providers which they're using, it can be a different any vendors that they've been using it. So it can be a customers, business to customers, customer to customers. So we'll be using in a transaction process. For example, today we have been using this Paytm in India, PhonePe in India, GPay in India, BharatPay in India. This is all is an example of gateway transactions. Application is used in terms of QR code to process with the financial information. We say monetary transactions. So mainly thing is they work on credit cards. In United States, they mainly use a credit cards. So we need to administrate the standard what is required for the card and brand that information. So PCI DSS is a security standard which is used for security standard of council. It is used to protect customers' credit card information. So sometimes we might use the prepaid card as well. So PCI DSS applies to any organization that accepts, process, payment card, covers technical, operational system, component that are connected to the card holders or a data. It helps to reduce the fraud or a data breach by setting or a baseline or a minimum level of protection for the customers. It has a framework. So when we talk about the framework, what are the framework we use? First thing, it will prevent the customer's data. It will prevent Arvind's credit cards. If Arvind is using Citibank or he is using Access Bar credit card, or if he's using SBI credit card, it depends on the process. So we require detections, response, and security of the incidents. These are the very important topic that we normally use. So to run this PCI compliances, what are the components we use? We use security management. We use policies. We use procedures. We use network architectures. We use software design, critical protective measurements. So some of the rules that we use in PCI DSS is it is build and maintain a secure network. It protects the card hold of data. It is used for maintaining vulnerabilities management program, implement a strong access of control measure, regularly monitoring the test networks. So we were with the security standards of goal. So this is the type of goals which mainly focus on PCI DSS. Fun one, like I said earlier, prevention, detection, response of security incident. This plays a very important role of protecting the payment card industry security gateway card holders information. So this is normally uses two types of confidentialities. One is data at rest and other one is data in transits. So which is always used in a different way of protecting the customers in terms of encryption process. So PCI DSS compliances involves with three components. One is handling the internal credit card transactions from customers to customer, ensuring that the credit card information or sensitive information that is collected and transmitted securely. And next part is implementing secure control audit trails that links to an access of system with an individual use of the logs, their actions. Retaining the audit trail of history is the least years or minimum of 3 months of log immediately available for analysis. This is very, very important in terms of PCI DSS. So it has intrinsic value, 1 million of transactions, how well we are using it. So we have like 6 levels. So whenever we say the levels which we are using, so we have the PCI level 1. So here we talk about business processing over 6 million of transactions. PCI level 2, we talk about 1 million to 6 million of transactions per year. And PCI level 3, we talk about 20,000 to 1 million of transactions per year. And PCI level 4, which has a business processing of less than 20,000 transactions per year. So I used to work in the MasterCard in Bangalore. So there, whenever we have to perform, we have a GRC team. Under GRC team, we used to work on only PCI DSS. So latest version, we do have a certification for PCI DSS. PCI DSS Assessor 1, QA 1, QA 2, like that you have 3 to 4 papers that you need to clear. So there is also done a private assessment or a training like how we do an ISO 27001. Similarly, you'll be also having a PCI DSS certification. So this is also very important, which talks about the 12 types of framework and do an assessment regarding e-discovery call. Is there a mitigation is available or is it a high risk for the organizations? How well we are treating the business structures. So mainly this works with the credit card transactions. So to add more information about the business cards, we need to understand what are the things we require. So here we required, if you're talking about a PCI DSS infrastructure, okay, this is a huge organizations which involves with a specific of standard technical controls associated to it. So it could be a merchant or it can be a customer, it can be a merchant or it can be a service provider, or it can be a service provider or it can be a customer, or it can be a business to business, how business processing is done. So each and every hardware they purchase on sales machine needs to install and maintain the firewall configuration to protect the card holder of data. Avoid using vendor supplied default by system password and other security parameters. Protect the stored card holder data. Encrypt the transmission of card and data across open and a public network. Users are regularly update antivirus softwares and maintain secure system and application process. Restrict the access of card holders or data for any business need to know concept. So we need to assign a unique ID, like each person with computer access. Restrict physical access. So we need to track the monitor of all access like network resources. No, it is for all the level 1. It is for all the level 1, level 2, level 3. For different types of level, we'll be having this 12 type of requirement process. So we need to track the monitors. We need to provide how well we are using these policies and address the information. So I will show you my checklist when I used to work in PCI DSS. Yes, basic requirement is 12 basic requirements you'll be having. So if you have worked in shell companies, if you have worked in Wipro, they have a lot of PCI DSS requirement in terms of GRC profile rules. So for the exam, you need to only think about the 6 12 controls, which is a requirement how we are using it and what are the important things that we focus on PCI DSS. So earlier we used to have version 1, now it has been increased version 4.1, I guess. This is the assessment. Okay, normally we do it. Hope you're able to see the website, right? This is the organization standards, how it looks like. So we were talking about 12 types of requirement, right? There is that PowerPoint. You see this, all merchant, regardless of level, relevant service providers required to comply with following 12 domains and requirements. Okay. So with this 12 requirements, we'll be having list of information, domain 8, domain 9, domain 12. So as per the information, we need to finish it. So we perform the checklist, we perform the environmental overview, how it has been done and what are the important things. So each one has a different controls. Okay, again, here we have testing, we have current network diagrams, do disclosures, firewall, rotations, disk encryption, cryptographic keys, everything will be using it and collect and correlate with that information. So here we provide a security scorecard. So this security scorecard will provide a very important and valuable resources for the assets. How this merchant, whether we can make sure or we require any kind of evaluation process. So all that it has been associated here. So requirement, firewalls, malicious protections. I hope you're able to read the screen, right? So if it is tiny, just let me know. So this is the organization which we are used to practice. So these are the checklist. So I manually tapped from my system, from the other system, and to make sure that any training can be provided to the students. So we have to mention the comment. This has to be verified by the auditors, internal auditors. Then the external auditors will review it and they close as an assessment. Similarly, we'll be having a theoretical documentation, which I would like to show you. This is the one, okay? So this is the server related information. Requirement 1, requirement 2, how it has been mapped. So we'll be having a logical units with our SharePoints, okay? So in the SharePoint, based on that articles, we'll be mapping it and trying to control the informations. If there is any network or any change management or any configuration management is used, how it has been implemented, what are the process that can be cultivated to make sure that we can secure the organization infrastructures. Okay, global contents, process, PCI conference, documentation. So this is the scope of the process, procedure, step-by-step process, how we need to perform it, and what are the evidence you need to collect from the merchandise. So when we're trying to collect from the merchandise, we need to select information security policies there, or acceptable use policies there, or risk assessment is there, vulnerability management is there, RASI metrics is there, change management is there. All that information will be reviewing. So normally an assurance team will be working on behalf and collecting the incidents and review the screenshot and upload it to the auditors. The auditors, the external auditors from big 4 companies like Deloitte, PwC, EY, they will verify this auditing and they will provide you an assurance certificate. So that's how it works. So I hope you have understood the PCI DSS, right? Yes, absolutely. Digital payments. So now we have come up into the kind of digital payment mode itself. And moreover, whenever you are using your shopping access, okay, you see this POS machine, okay. Suppose if the POS machine, actually the vendors will not give that in case if you are using any POS machine, okay. So that POS machine should be authorized like current date 2024. It should not be outdated like 2021 or 2022 because that is very, very important. I mean to say this type of application, this type of POS machine, okay. On the back of this POS machine, you will be updated with the grade ones, the security one requirements and process. So nowadays they are coming up with the third party's payment gateway. So in India, we have this issue. One is like Paytm, they have their own Paytm machines. So which is not properly, we don't know what it is exactly. So some might be using PhonePe as an app, but they are interrelated with the bank-to-bank transaction. So once you scan the money and pay 20 rupees to Arvind. So Mithun will need to wait minimum 5 days to get uploaded in his account so that he can use it. But amount will be there in his account, but to get a real money of transaction, he has to wait for 5 days. So there will be a lot of conditions between PCI to PCI data security standards in India. So I'm not sure about in Gulf, but there is a different and advanced method in Gulf practices. So in US, there is different method, immediate transactions. There's no need to wait for any specific dates to amount gets deposited onto your merchandise account or a vendor account. You have to memorize this slide, guys. Okay, please make a note of this slide. So no required of 200 controls. Just remember this. So that is more than enough. So how many levels we have? We have 4 levels. How many types of requirements we have? We have 12 types of requirement. How many domains we have? It's a 12 domain. 12 domain, 12 requirement. This is all related to PCI DSS. So next one is GDPR. So GDPR from 2016, this plays a very, very important role about the General Data Protection Act. A General Data Protection Act is an European Union regulations of information privacies, and it's an economical, which is very important for European privacies, especially whenever you talk about these European countries. So I used to work for the Jetronics, which is like 110 years old. It's an ICTT company. Okay, they have been outsourced many projects to India. So one of the project like Starnex, and they had some intersnack connections. They had Virgin Medias, Virgin Tours and Travel. A lot of projects would be associated. When this GDPR came into the picture, so whatever the job they had given, they took back. So make sure that only European employees, European internal employees has to be supporting the business. So that was a very, very tough time for all the cybersecurity people who worked in India. So immediately they asked us to look out for some other jobs. So normally this happens with the European privacy rules. So here we're going to talk about GDPR. What are the main things that we focus on GDPR? What are the main principles of GDPR? So GDPR focus on data governance. So in the previous slide, we discussed about security governance. We discussed about compliances. Now we are going to talk about privacy. Under privacy, we're going to talk about GDPR. So GDPR mainly focus on data governance, data management, and data transparency. So data transparency means what you have opted and how valuable and how transparent we are working with that policies. So GDPR gives an individual, when you say individual, here Arvind is individual, here Nitin is individual, here Albert is individual, or here Senthil is individual. So that means a general data protection regulation is an individual or privacy act. It's a right to determine what data organization stores, requests the organization to delete that data, and receives the notification of data to breach. So we have non-compliances receipts, which an FT fine if they are not following it. So there are millions of fines that they have paid by meta groups. One is the Facebooks or Instagram. So they had some lot of issues in terms of privacy with respect to the European government. So there are like 7 types of main principle for GDPR. So GDPR mainly talks about lawfulness, fairness, transparency. So limitation, data minimizations. And next is confidentiality, integrity, and accountability. Suppose if you are going for any job in India or any other place, and if you mention your cybersecurity skills, so they'll ask you what is difference between IDS, IPS. That is all gone now. So they definitely ask you 2 or 3 questions from compliances. So in that compliances, they'll definitely ask about GDPR. So in GDPR, they will definitely ask you about 7 main principles of GDPR. So this should be tip of your tongue so that you cannot misuse, because this is one of the easiest opportunities to try to evaluate that your standards are up to date. The next one is HIPAA, which is known as Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act. So what is this HIPAA? Why we require this HIPAA? So you know this Bill Clinton? So this Bill Clinton invented this HIPAA policy. So this is known as, the full form of HIPAA is known as Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act. It is used to have a standard sensitivity of patients' information. He signed the Bill Clinton's, like how he's been using with high tech of act of privacy and provide as security functions. This is mainly applicable for health, human services, which was established in 1996. So this has 3 components. So when we say 3 components, we have nearly supporting the aspect of business, policies, records, keeping technologies, building safety in sense of HIPAA. So to have a same page working together to protect the patient's data. So there are like 4 main purposes of HIPAA. One is privacy of health information, security of electronic records, administrative simplifications, insurance, portabilities, provide the detailed information of handling and patients of personal information. So this the information why I am reading this slide is, these are the very important topic with respect to the objective of conceptual based question in CSSP exam. Okay, so the main object is when we talk about this HIPAA. So this HIPAA is mainly used in with respect to the privacy of health information about individual. So about Arvind health individual, about Albert a health individual. Individual, when we talk about privacy, it talks about individual. So all that information. So in your organization, they provide you a health card. For example, Astor health card, or for example, Max New York health card. So that information, that healthcare information should not public to any kind of website. If you enter any number, they should not provide your information about your health. So that security of electronic records is very, very important. And apart from that, the administration of this simplification concept is very, very important. So once you get admitted and you have get well within 2 or 3 days of bed rest, then they have to use the medical insurance and they have to message a discharge. I mean, for what purpose he was hospitalized. In this, you again have 4 disclaimers. If a person is abused on alcohol, if a person is abused on smoking, the insurance will not be claimed. If the person is drunk and drive and met with an accident, insurance is not claimed. If the person is smoked and got dehydrated with a high dosage, he will not be claimed for insurance. Even though he is a top billionaire or CEO information, he will not be accessing it, because the medical history, the medical insurance are strict in this kind of policies. So that's the reason there are many issues. They say that stop avoiding alcohol. The reason is they try the insurance, but it's very, very difficult. If they come to know that this is a scenario, this is a process because of this particular thing, that is very difficult to claim the insurance. It will reject from the insurance team itself, it gets rejected. So insurance portability plays a very, very important role. And especially people like having drugs in terms of weeds or I would say marijuana. I don't know how to say in the local language, but if the most of our college students or any work professionals or any disturbed people, they use this kind of drug activities, this will not help in claiming the insurance. So there is a separate certification. Apart from CISSP, we have a HCISSP, which means Healthcare Certified Information Security Professional. The syllabus in that CISSP is very less. Okay, instead of having 8 domains, they have 5 domains. Next one is Sarbanes-Oxley effect. So what is this Sarbanes? So you have come across banking, you have come across PCI DSS for credit card. So Bhaskar, you did not talk about stock and shares. Why you're not talking about stocks and shares? So normally in the United States, is across the geographical countries, United States is the only country where people morely have 40% of populations are invested on stocks and shares. So this Sarbanes-Oxley Act mainly targets on financial trading system. Trading, when we say a financial trading, it would be New York Exchange. It would be Dows and Joints. So like Telstar shares or Google share, Alphabet share, Wells Fargo Bank shares. This all falls under Sarbanes-Oxley Act. If they are dealing with a bank, if they're dealing with financial transaction, if they're dealing with monetary transaction, this Sarbanes-Oxley Act has to be there in the compliances. If they don't have this compliance, this will not go under next level of auditing process. It's a reporting standard, safeguarding, tracking, attempt of breach. If you see this movie, The Wolf of Wall Street, how many of them have watched this movie? You would have repeatedly said the SOX compliances. Okay, so some people who don't have experience or knowledge in SOX compliances, they don't understand. But when we clearly understand the movie concept, he gets caught with the SOX compliances, like making a fraudulent activities with the help of job rotation or job in terms of stock manipulation process. So we have executive certifications, we have internal controls. The company should maintain the internal controls to prevent the fraudulent activities. What the price of the share has to be properly updated. So there should be, in India, we have Central Depository Security Limited, or we have National Security Limited. So NCDSL or NSDL, we have different types of depository scheme. So this would be authorized for the individual citizen who can opt for the shares. who's interested for the shares and how he is using it. There should be a whistleblower or protection of employee who reports the corporate fraud and protected informations. Audit the reports. This is like mandate the both audits, reports of internal controls, and agent must conduct the specific enhance of review of corporate report. This is very, very important in terms of Sarbanes-Oxley. This is also mainly used in identity and access management in terms of for example, Arvind is working in the organization for 2 years. Suddenly he got a promotion to a team leader. So that previous access, what he was accessing for Active Directory, what he was accessing for Unix, that has to be terminated. That has to be revoked for the next project. So when he's going for the next project, that current activities, whatever the tools he's using, that account has to be enabled. So which he came from the previous, that should be automatically deactivated. If he's still activated, that is a violence issue in Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Any questions so far? Okay. I hope you have understood the concept, right? So again, we're going to brush up some of the privacy laws. Do not spend time on UK law. Do not spend time on Argentina. Do not spend time on European or any United Kingdoms or any Europe. They don't ask much. So for our understanding, we need to understand the concept, how we are using it. Mainly, the privacy focus on personal identifiable information. It can be a social security numbers, number, date, birthplace, and biometric records. So any information which belongs to medical, education, financial, employment information, this is all related to a personal identifiable informations. So privacies. So just now I was talking about the 7th principle, right? This is the 7th principle. So where we use privacy mostly in the social platforms like Instagram, Facebook. So biggest culprit is Facebook, because most of the 50% of the populations would be always used in a Facebook or in terms of dealing with some other information. So they provide their sensitive information over the online applications. So that's a concern, like how they're using and how they're taking the customer's information. And they should not do any cross marketing. So for example, there will be a lot of issue in this privacy. The person who's trying to search on how to reduce the fat, or the person who wants to search in the Google how to increase the fat body, or some person wants to make sure that how to regrow his hair on his head. So this kind of activities, the cookies will enable and create a marketing or a fake tablets, making sure that this is genuine 100% buyback, written policy, and a blah, blah, blah information. So many millions of customers will trust that and they buy it. At the end of the day, it would be just a vitamin tablet. It will not give you the correct results. Sometimes it might be a fatal issues that would be gone for any kind of a dosage. So people who have any vitamin D deficiency, this all is a fakeism of information in terms of privacies in the social network. So we have collection of limitations, data qualities, purpose of specifications, security of safeguard, individual of participations, data controller, and accountabilities. So I'll give you one of my example, my own example. So I was looking out for a small projector in my room for a training purpose. And after sometimes I didn't bother of searching in the Flipkart or Amazon. But in Instagram, I used to get kind of an advertisement that it will be in a mobile size and that can be displayed on the wall, and the price is only 500 rupees. Trust me. And he has directly given his GPay account number. Once you give this GPay account number, immediately he will disguise from himself. So this is how the hackers, this is how the criminals across the people they are using it. So I did not buy it. Actually, I know that it's a phishing, but I did not go for it. So instead of that, to avoid everyone, I used to message that this is a fake. So even a 500 rupees, you don't get any proper charger. So do not buy this projector. This is just a fakeism. So don't trust on this. So have you come across this type of phishing, privacy issues, or any kind of in your social network platform? Okay. 7 principle, not 8 principle. So this data control accountability has been changed. Okay. Now we have 7 principle of privacies. One is collection of limitation. For example, Mithun is processing for an online application. Okay, so I should take his only the first and last name and email address for processing it. Data quality, I should not misuse his first and last name. Instead of having Mithun, I can add some X or some Y in the initial. That will cause a data quality issues. Purpose of specification: if he has come for opening the savings account, it has to be open only for savings account. Use of limitation: since he has come for a banking online application, I cannot provide him a cross-selling like credit card, bank account information. Security safeguard: miss all the sensitive information has to be secure. Openness is nothing but a transparent visibility, how honest to the process of privacy. Individual participation: whenever they are trying to access the application, bank application, it has to be individual participation. We should not monitor like what type of transaction is using. So data control is again submerged with the purpose of specification process. Okay, we're clear, Mithun? Now we're going to talk about professions of ethics. Here we're going to talk about 3 types: computer ethics, code of conduct, and
For full course video training, visit MildainTrainings.com. Register now.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.